I would be completely lying if I didn't tell you that there are times that I absolutely hate my business, that I just want to quit. I want to be done. I want to throw in the towel. Running a business can have so many ups and downs that it is really, really natural to feel that. Some days are the best days ever. Some days you just don't know why you started in the first place. And I have had seasons of time the past few years when I've just wanted to run away and quit, and I've resented every single thing that I built. And this feels to me like waking up and not even wanting to come in here, not wanting to film content, not wanting to put my hands on the blog, wondering why I'm doing all of this, wondering if I should just focus on something else that I feel like I'm not doing because I'm focused on the business, feeling super upset that clients aren't just rolling in as fast as I need them to be rolling in, feeling like the business is just a burden, and then feeling like I'm not living up to anything. I'm not consistently taking care of my body. My business isn't thriving, and I'm certainly not taking care of my house because everything's a mess. I'm literally getting to the point where I want to walk away and just be a stay-at-home mom again. Hi, I'm Sarah, and if you're new here, I run a Google Ads consulting business where I coach clients on getting better results out of Google Ads. And I started my business a few years ago. Every single client has come to me through content that I put out on LinkedIn, content that I put out on other websites across the internet, YouTube videos on my Google Ads channel. And all these clients have come to me despite the fact that I've never really blown up, so to speak. I've just consistently put myself out there enough to attract clients and to keep my business running. Somehow, by the grace of the gods of the algorithm, it has worked. But that doesn't mean that I haven't had times of extreme frustration. And again, that hatred towards what I built. So today, I'm going to talk about how I got out of that hatred and came to start to love my business again. I think sometimes we have to go back to the original dream of why we created this. I remember it was like 20 years ago at this point, before I even got into marketing. I worked at the data center at Nationwide. I was part of an IT team. I sat in the data center on raised floor. I was called a business analyst. I made a great amount of money. I went to Banana Republic every Friday. I wore business casual, and I was part of the management team there. I wasn't a manager, but I was supporting the managers who worked on that team. And yeah, it was a great job. I was responsible for things that sound fancy, business continuity plans, reporting data center metrics, and again, supporting that management team. But it was a really boring job. It was boring in that I wasn't using my brain to think. I was pulling reports, consolidating things. I was moving ideas and concepts from spreadsheets into the software that supported the business continuity plans. It left me a lot of time to think. And what I would do is I carried around a little small notebook. It was one of those little pocket spiral notebooks that sometimes you see kids have. I know I bought a couple for my child on Amazon so she could doodle. And I would carry it around and I'd write things to myself. And I was at such a time, it was before I really knew anything about positive thinking and journaling and manifestation, but I would really write in there my dreams for the future. And I used to dream of being a copywriter or being something that allowed me to be at home. And I had this vision in my head of what I wanted. I remember the data center and being in the air conditioning under those fluorescent lights. It was so cold in there. And again, I was wearing business casual. I've always been a really sensory person, and I just had this vision about me working on the computer and writing and doing what I wanted. And then in the middle of the day, walking to the mailbox and feeling the sunshine and feeling how good it felt to feel the sunshine, and then coming back to my desk and working. And I just had this clear picture in my mind of exactly the business that I wanted. And this was a long before I ever even got to this point. And remembering those days makes me realize, like, this was my dream. I have that. I take long walks all of the freaking time. In fact, my step count right now, oh my gosh, is over 20,000 steps a day. I walk all the time. I'm always in something comfortable. I literally have the job of my dreams. And it was something that I had dreamed and put on paper 15, 20 years ago. And so being able to put that feeling and bring it to the forefront and remembering that, I think really gives you appreciation of what you've built, even when you're in the tough days. Now, looking back, I probably should have been more specific and articulated the amount of money that I wanted to make and where I really wanted to feel sufficient. But hey, I built what I wanted. So sometimes the business that you built, the one that you're hating, is the dream you forgot you asked for. I think something else that helped me is giving myself permission to quit. In a time of venting, I was suggesting to my husband, just that I stopped doing this, that I stopped feeling like I'm beating my head against a wall. And he said, well, reach out to your accountant, find out how much you're actually making, if it's helping us, if it's not helping us. I know that I'm in the green, but again, for the hours that I put in, I don't know that I'm where I want to be exactly. And he said this not because he wanted me to quit, but because he wanted the option to be on the table for me. And then he said, but I feel like you would be bored. And this for me unlocked the fact that I could just stop. That's in the future if that's what I wanted. But the truth was right there. I would be bored because every single time I haven't had something like this, something to nurture, something to grow. I've picked up hobbies, and all the hobbies are just trying to grow something and trying to build something. And I have that. I have that on my Google Ads side. My YouTube channel on my Google Ads side has made me $7,000 in revenue this year alone. And that's not counting all my other contracts that I got through all my other content on different channels. That's only what I can attribute to the YouTube channel on the Google Ads side. So sometimes you need to realize you can walk away to realize you don't want to. I think another thing that can make you see and appreciate your business a lot more is to understand phases. Right now, I'm in a slower transformational period where I'm able to nurture this side of my business, which makes zero money whatsoever, but it's something that's in my heart. And then I also have the Google Ads side, which is sustainable at this point. It's not as sustainable as I want it, but it's doing more than it's ever done before, and I'm getting the projects that I always wanted. My first half of the year looked like client after client after client and huge projects. And so I made a lot of money up front this year. But recently, I just signed 3 really small projects. A $3,000 project and 2 $350 consulting calls. And the coaching calls that I signed, I shouldn't even be sad about because I always wanted more of a coaching business. And so everything comes in phases. I may have just been putting out content that attracted more of the coaching clients, and then now it's being realized versus my earlier content was probably attracting more of the build and train clients, and so I attracted those bigger projects. And there's a seasonality factor on top of it all. And so it could be that I'm just building more of what I'm aligned with at this point in time. And so being really comfortable with where you're at and understanding the phases helps you stay grounded, especially when you're trying to appreciate the goodness. So a slow phase isn't failure, it's just a season. It's just the world reacting to what you've put out there. Another thing that's been really, really helpful to me is to fix what I can control. So I know in a previous video, I talked about how I would make content and then go work out. And that has always been my thing. In fact, that's what I've been doing for the past 3 years. But I shifted and I now work out well before I even start work. And what happens, and I've learned this over time because I've been at this 3, almost 4 years now, is when I sit down, I hyper-focus and I never stop working. Underworking isn't something in my DNA. It's not something that I do. I'm a chronic overworker. And as being someone who constantly is guilty of overworking, I ignore everything else around me and my other goals. And so when the business isn't going where I want it to go, my fitness is failing. The house isn't clean. And so then I just have this overwhelming feeling like nothing's going well. And so when I identify the 3 important pillars of my life, it is ultimately the business, my fitness, and the house, and my kids, and the home. And so what I've done now is I've chosen the one that's easiest to control, which is my fitness. And I would wrap that into my health, right? My fitness, the way we eat, because it's the one that relies on only my decisions. And I've embraced making that the forefront thing in my life right now, because the house relies on the kids and family. I mean, I don't want to pick up all their stuff all day. Business obviously would rely on clients, but my health, that's up to me. And so when you exceed in one area of your life and when you're successful there, you can apply that momentum to the others. So regaining control in one area of your life stabilizes the others and makes you feel grateful for what you were hating before. I would also say a big part of this is also practicing gratitude when you see progress. When you feel dull or discouraged in your business, do the old-fashioned list making. Make a list of everything you're grateful for. For me, honorable mentions would be being able to show up on here and tell people how things are working or not working for me. I remember the early days of this channel when I felt like I was pulling things out. And now I have so much to say that it's a problem. I always want to come here. And I wanted to talk about getting clients, but I felt like a fraud when it was onesie here, one other there. It wasn't consistent. Now I have years of experience behind me. And every year I'm getting more. I have actual stories to tell. I hold value. And I feel like I can finally grow this personal channel as much as I've grown my Google Ads channel. So when you look at gratitude, it's revealing the distance that you've already traveled. So if you're finally to the end of this video and you're feeling really down about your business, this is what has worked for me and what helped get me to where I am today, which is in a much more grateful state. Your business isn't something that you have to love every single day. It's something you grow through the seasons, choices you make, and perspective shifts. I hope this video helped someone today. If not, that's okay too. I put it out there. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the comments.